what do you know? I'm filming at night again. If you know, you know. Today's video, we're talking about how you can learn how to come out to every new person that you meet. As you know, I've struggled with this for years, coming out over and over again and being out of the closet. What am I saying? And I've been out since, I guess my whole life, since I dated a girl in 8th grade, but I guess officially came out in 2015, but I'm dating a girl.
Yeah, I heard that, and I'm glad that you told me that. I know you're my best friend, and I love you to death, and no matter who you date, whether it's male or female or anything else, I just want you to make sure that you are treated well by them. So it's been a while. But you also might know, as an LGBT person, that once you come out, it kind of doesn't stop. You meet new people, you have to come out again and again and again, everywhere you go, every person you meet. Sometimes it can be a struggle. Sometimes it feels like you're closeted again. Sometimes it feels like others are doing that to you, and sometimes it feels like you are putting yourself back in the closet. And so I thought we could talk about this, we could discuss some ideas on how we can better ourselves at communicating who we are to others and also expressing ourselves naturally. If you guys have any tips, please feel free to leave them in the comments, but I came up with a few myself and I thought I could share them with you today. One thing is, I do feel like there has to be a way to come out to every single person that you meet in a way that feels natural and normal and isn't just like, hi, I'm Alanah and I'm gay. That just doesn't feel comfortable to me, and it is very blunt and very honest, and I think if that's how you do want to go about it, that's perfectly fine, but for me, that's just not a comfortable way to express myself. I tried to do a little bit of digging kind of within and really be honest with myself. When I have had natural conversations with people and it just led to me expressing who I am, or when people just knew because they had followed me on social media, those type of things, I kind of dug deeper into that and tried to pull out some ideas that I could share with you. I do want to share a quick little story. My most recent struggle with this. I did make a whole video about this a few years ago, and I talked about when I had been working with clients and my struggle with that. But my most recent struggle is, as you know, I got married 4 months ago, and my wife Daisy and I were shopping, and she went to go try some pants on, and I was kind of wandering around the store. She texted me like, hey, come look at them, see what you think of them. So I walked into the dressing room, and one of the associates there greeted me and said, how many items? Do you need a fitting room? And I instantly froze, and I said, oh no, my friend's in here. I just came to see what she's doing. And I felt so awkward and embarrassed that I couldn't say my wife was in there. It was shameful afterwards. It made me feel really uncomfortable. It made Daisy feel really uncomfortable. And in that moment, the reason I froze was because I didn't know who was in the room. I didn't know what this associate thought of gay people. And a lot of the times when I'm in a environment where I don't know the circumstances, I don't know what people think, I end up freezing and I end up feeling like I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. You know, a fitting room of women feel uncomfortable or whatever it is. And in return, that makes me feel uncomfortable having to kind of dance around the idea of just being who I am, which is really frustrating because I should be confident and comfortable to be who I am. And I know that there's nothing wrong with it, but for some reason, some circumstances make me feel like that. And I know a lot of it has to do with confidence. I have to be comfortable within myself and who I am to then express that outwardly. And sometimes I do lack in that department, and it's all a learning and growing process through life. There's no right or wrong way to learn how to be a human and learn how to be yourself. It's a journey, it's not a destination. Like I've mentioned, you're gonna be constantly figuring out how to come out to people your entire lives. We live in a heteronormative
world where people make assumptions about you based on what you look like. And if you look like me, apparently you look like a cis straight woman. And there are many versions of the LGBT community that looks like a certain way, that may be perceived a certain way, and you are gonna have to keep coming out your entire life. And it really sucks, but that's the world we live in. And unfortunately, we have to learn to adapt to that until cis straight isn't the norm, which unfortunately I feel like will be the norm for at least my entire life. One thing is, after this last experience, I saw it as a learning experience for me to find my confidence and to find a comfortable way to express myself. What do? Here is the step-by-step guide on how to come out to new people again and again and again. First tip, it's all about how often you're doing it. The more you do something, the more comfortable you get, and therefore it becomes easier. Start small, and chances are, if you're watching this video, you've already come out to your friends and hopefully your family. So it's just doing that over and over again. Learning how to find a comfortable way to do it. It might take a few tries, but as time goes on, it gets easier. And the next few things you need to do are figure out if you want to do this in a subtle way or if you want to do this in a more blunt way. Whatever works for you is perfectly fine. For me, I do obviously social media, and so a lot of my content is about being LGBT, and so I like to bring that up in conversation when people ask me what I do for work. And if I'm getting to know them, I say I make LGBT content on the internet. And that's a really easy way to kind of let them know who I am, and it also lets them know what my job is. And that's kind of a subtle-ish way to say I'm part of the LGBT community. Other ways that you can do is you can put your pronouns and maybe a rainbow flag in your bio on your social media accounts, and when you swap Instagrams with somebody, they can see that and kind of get an idea of who you are. Other subtle ways you can do this is kind of dropping little Easter eggs in conversation. You could say things like, oh, my wife drinks her coffee black too. Or if you aren't in a relationship, you could say something like, my ex-girlfriend used to listen to that type of music, implying you've had a girlfriend before. Or if you've never had a girlfriend, you could say things like, oh yes, I love Lady Gaga. Her music actually helped me figure out my sexuality. So those are kind of subtle ways to drop hints into conversation. But there are also more blunt ways to just tell somebody that you are part of the community. This is in general, I'm just speaking from my experience, so I kind of stem it back to being a lesbian, but you can obviously change this out for whatever you are or who you are. A more blunt and obvious way too, where you don't have to say anything, is wearing things that make it more obvious. So having pins on your backpack or your purse, or wearing certain colors that are very obviously certain colors. You can also drop more obvious hints in conversation, like, I'm a lesbian, so meeting people in bars isn't really that easy unless I go out and WeHo. Or actually don't go to that restaurant, because I learned recently that the owner of those restaurants supports anti-LGBT organizations, and I'm a lesbian. Obviously, skew it to the conversation that you're having, but there are ways to make it known without it feeling like, hi, I'm Alanah and I'm a lesbian. There are ways to just add it to conversation that do feel very, very normal and comfortable for most conversations with most people. And with that being said, if you aren't in a safe environment to tell someone who you are, then I wouldn't do that. I only would share that information if I'm in a comfortable and safe environment. Not everybody needs to know everything about you, and that's okay too. Like I said earlier, coming out just isn't a one-time thing, unfortunately. We live in a heteronormative society where people assume what they want before asking, and we just have to adapt. Hopefully this video gave you some confidence to figure out what form works for you to express who you are in normal conversations when you meet new people. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to hear your thoughts and how you go about this in the comments down below. And if this was helpful, let me know. And with that all being said, I'll see you in the next one.